We're following developing news out of northeast Albuquerque this morning. Police say a fight between neighbors turned violent. They were called to the Winrock Villa condos near Pennsylvania and Indian School around 7 last night. They say one person was stabbed in the stomach and taken to the hospital. He is expected to survive. Now, 3 others were detained and questioned. Police aren't releasing who they are or if anyone was arrested. Now, in a recent News 13 story, people at the apartments told us they were living in fear. They say their neighbor, David Shaken, who has a violent criminal history, told his neighbors he would kill them, sending threatening letters from jail. Now, again, police have not said who is responsible for last night's stabbing. We're gathering more information and will bring you an update as it becomes available. Also developing this morning, an Arizona DPS SWAT team has arrested a man they say was shooting at cars along Phoenix area freeways. Officials say 21-year-old Leslie Merritt Jr. is linked to at least 4 of the 11 shootings based on the gun he owned. The series of gunfire kept drivers on edge for weeks. Now, Merritt was arrested at a Walmart in a suburb west of Phoenix last night. Merritt's father is furious about the arrest and says police are just desperate to pin the shootings on someone. He found out about the arrest from reporters last night.
I don't know if you're aware your son has just been arrested.
Excuse me?
He's just been accused of the I-10 shootings.
Oh, they're so stupid.
Merritt's father went on to say that anyone who thinks his son is the shooter is, quote, a moron. Now, there have been 11 confirmed shootings at vehicles. Most occurred along Interstate 10. No one was seriously injured. A car theft victim is doing his own police work to get his SUV back, and so far, he's got one heck of a lead.
I mean, this is like right out of a movie, you know? Follow the guy to his house.
Joshua Lawrence may not have a police badge, but his detective instincts are spot on.
And I care, so I'm gonna take the initiative.
Lawrence says thieves snatched his '94 white Jeep Cherokee from his home near UNM. He called police immediately.
Told me most likely won't find it.
So he set out to find it on his own. His first big break in the case, a long trail of radiator fluid likely leaking from his SUV when the crooks took off with it.
And you can see right here, the radiator fluid just goes all the way around here and out into the street.
From there, it keeps going and going.
They turned right down the alley right here, and you can follow this trail all the way up here and into a parking space right here.
In that parking space, Lawrence says he found a second clue.
I had this key that I broke off in the lock in my truck in the Jeep, was laying right here in this parking spot.
After some more digging around, Lawrence noticed the trail of radiator fluid didn't stop there. In fact, it goes up this alley.
It goes right over here, down the wrong way on a one-way.
Then down a couple more streets, eventually stopping 5 blocks from his home in a parking space labeled for tenants only. We knocked around to see if anyone knew anything about Lawrence's Jeep. No luck, but he says that won't stop him from continuing to search for it.
I'm gonna take care of this.
Now, it's not clear if anyone at that complex had anything to do with Lawrence's stolen car. That's just where the trail ended. Now, police say they're looking into it, and they say Lawrence did the right thing by filing a police report. However, they don't encourage people to investigate crimes on their own. U.S. Marshals say they now know what happened to a rapist/killer who escaped from an Ohio prison decades ago. Turns out he spent most of his life in New Mexico working for the state. Shirley Campbell was one of the most dangerous escapees in the U.S. Back in 1958, Campbell worked at a hospital near Cincinnati when he sexually assaulted a 19-year-old nursing student in an elevator, then threw her off the roof of the 5-story building. Now, he was sentenced to life. In 1972, he escaped from an Ohio prison work farm. Investigators say he fled to California, where he started a new life as Edward Davis, telling people he was adopted, a Vietnam vet who lost his family in a fire. They say in the 80s he moved to New Mexico and made Roswell his new home. Campbell got married, got a degree, and started working for the State Department of Labor. Marshals say his wife had no idea about her late husband's past.
To the best of our knowledge, and again, it's our knowledge, none of these individuals knew his true identity.
Campbell died at his Roswell home in 2004 at the age of 64 of a massive heart attack. U.S. Marshals are now looking to see if Campbell is linked to any unsolved crimes during his time on the run. A man in Louisiana was ticketed for riding his horse home drunk. Now, Cowboy Jake Williams got the ticket for drunkenly riding his pal named Sugar down a highway near Baton Rouge. The cowboy ditched his truck for his faithful horse, declaring Sugar his designated driver.
Hey, when you get a little too much drink, why not ride a horse? It's safer that way. Your horse knows the way home.
Oh, deputies could not arrest Williams for driving while intoxicated. Instead, they cited the cowboy for being drunk in public. Well, going over the edge, it's a sickening case of animal cruelty. An Albuquerque family discovered their beloved cat Zumi dead. However, it was the way he was found that has them left shocked and heartbroken. Candace Reed and her daughter say when 1-year-old Zumi disappeared 2 weeks ago, they knew something was wrong. They looked for Zumi all over their Taylor Ranch neighborhood. They eventually found his body behind the shopping center just over the wall from their house. But they weren't prepared for the way they found him. They say Zumi's body had been mutilated in a way that could only be done by a person.
There are people out there who are really sick, and you want to keep your pet safe.
The Reeds say losing Zumi, and in such a terrible way, has left a permanent hole in their lives. They did some research and found cases similar to Zumi's death. They say Zumi may have been killed as part of a gang initiation, but it's not certain. Well, it'll be even longer before we find out if Cynthia Varela-Casals will go to trial for the beating death of her 9-year-old son, Omari. She was in court yesterday to see if she was competent to stand trial. Varela-Casals' attorneys argued Omari's mother is not fit to go to trial, but the judge said that decision will have to wait. He scheduled a hearing for November so that both sides can present their arguments. Now, if Varela-Casals is found incompetent, a judge could have her committed to a mental health facility until she becomes competent to stand trial. Now, just last week, her husband, Stephen Casals, was convicted of negligent child abuse stemming from Omari's death. The ACLU is now getting involved in the case of the mother who says she was forced to hear religious teachings in a court-ordered program. Holly Salzman was involved in a child custody case when district court ordered her to attend 10 sessions of co-parenting sessions. Mary Pepper talked to Salzman about religion, gave her religious handouts, and Salzman says even prayed in the classes. Yesterday, the ACLU sent this letter to Chief District Court Judge Nan Nash asking the court to investigate Pepper's and other therapists' curriculum.
And to actually look at their entire counseling program and find out, are there other instances where people's First Amendment rights are being violated? Because in this instance, we squarely believe that Ms. Salzman's religious freedom rights were violated.
District Court will only say it's reviewing the letter. We will keep pressing for answers. Well, CNN confirms more than 3,000 former students may have had their personal information compromised. Officials say a thumb drive went missing possibly back in April that contained the information. The school has sent out a letter to the people affected by the breach. They have also been offered a free membership to LifeLock. Officials say they are not sure if the thumb drive was lost, stolen, or simply thrown away, but employees have been retrained on how to handle personal information. A popular Santa Fe spa has dropped its clothing optional policy. 10,000 Waves is changing its policy because of people misbehaving, mostly men. Now, the spa says its clientele was comfortable with mixed nudity back in the 80s, but now most of its customers are uncomfortable with it. Well, the little girl found dead along the shore in Boston has been identified. Investigators are looking to the child's mother and her boyfriend for answers. Authorities called the girl Baby Doe after her body was found in June in a trash bag. Her picture, generated by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, was shared online more than 50 million times. On Thursday, police got a tip. She's been identified as 2-year-old Bella Bond.
Someone who acquired some information and called the Boston police, and from there, with that little bit of information, we were able to build this case in about 24 hours.
Bella's mother and her mother's boyfriend have been arrested. The DA thinks the boyfriend intentionally killed the 2-year-old and that her mother helped keep it a secret. 2 Texas high school players are explaining why they tackled a referee in the middle of a football game.
He told one of my Hispanic friends, he told him, speak English, this is America.
The players say the ref was using racial slurs such as the N-word to describe their teammates. They retaliated by striking the ref. Now the official is denying the accusations.
He says that's a lie.
That's not, it's the honest truth right there, and I wouldn't lie about this situation. Like, just how bad it's gotten, like, the truth needs to be told.
The high schoolers also say one of their assistant coaches told them to strike the official. UNM hopes to share the beauty and unique culture of New Mexico with other states through a new program it's launching. Now, this woman moved from Madagascar to New Mexico nearly 10 years ago to go to UNM, where she's now working on her PhD.
I love UNM, so I came here because of that cultural uniqueness.
That cultural uniqueness that UNM wants to share in its new partnership with Mississippi Valley State University. Dr. Robert Jefferson says the cultural exchange program will start small, with 4 students from Mississippi visiting UNM for 4 weeks this summer. They'll take classes and trips to places like Laguna Pueblo and Santa Fe. The year after, UNM students will go to Mississippi. Now, UNM says it hopes to expand the program to include more universities in the future. Well, a long time